Align fam, so many of you coming on June 7th for the next Align experience have been asking a little bit more detail about some of the breakout sessions. And one of the highly anticipated one is when men honestly tell us women what they wish we knew about them, and then vice versa. So Petar and I always do this where we ask each other or give each other ideas, or we talk about our
Translation, basically.
translation. Yeah. When it comes to our dating, like what's a guy thinking or what a woman thinking. So we're like, wait a minute, we should actually do a session when it comes to like the stages of dating and attraction in terms of what's going in a male's mind and what's going on in a woman's mind. So this is exactly that. This is really unplanned and like unfiltered. So it'll be really raw and honest, and hopefully you guys will get something out of it, nuggets. But
there's going to be a lot of cuts in this video.
Probably, yeah, because it's gonna be no filter. With that said, Petar, any questions or any comments you want to share with the audience before we get started?
No, I think it's a great idea
Okay.
to just like do this live translation
Yes.
through examples.
Yeah. And then on June 7th, it will probably be more, I would say, deeper and more emotional than this. This is just gonna be more fun and funny, but you'll give you a sense of how honest we're gonna be. So are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the first one because I always, as of recently, am getting dinged for this. So the first is signaling your availability or interest in the opposite sex. So Petar, what are some do's a woman should do to signal that she's interested in a guy if she's like out in a bar or out in the streets? Yeah.
Yeah, I can talk from like, like what is like a more common approach, and then what is like a good approach, which I think is like really good. Yeah. So, and first of all, I think like women in New York are very assertive, which is like great for like for starting a conversation.
Okay.
But yeah. No filter. Okay.
No filter. Okay.
However, I think like women who want assertive men,
yeah,
who want, like men who are, like comfortable making the move,
yeah,
then they don't have to work that hard. The easiest thing to do is to just look the guy in the eye and keep the eye contact for like 3 seconds, and then maybe ideally end that with a slight smile.
Okay, can you demonstrate?
More than I don't think my smile is that good, but like it's just like literally 3-second eye contact.
1, 2, 3. It's a long time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like when you're in a bar and you see a person like 5 meters away and they keep their gaze on you.
Yeah.
Like either you have something on your face, which is probably unlikely.
Wow. Maybe not.
Or they're actually interested in you. Now that doesn't mean they're interested in dating you. That maybe just like you look like an interesting person to them. Like maybe, like they want to talk to you for some reason. So as a guy, that is you see that's basically an invitation.
Okay.
If you want to talk to me, go ahead. That's what it is.
Okay.
And I think it's as simple as that. If you want to be more assertive, you can just, like approach and say literally anything. Hey.
Hi.
Literally, hi.
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 Literally. We love hi.
Guys do not expect women to have pickup lines. Like it's like the bar is so low. All you need to do is say hi.
Okay. So 2 funny stories. So one thing is I agree with the 3-second thing. For someone like me that I'm just not, how do you say this? I'm not assertive when it comes to like trying to get a guy's attention. I'm also like holding 3 seconds is for me a little, because eye contact's so intimate. It's uncomfortable. For me, it's uncomfortable. This is what I do and it works like a charm, okay? So you make eye contact with the guy, hold it for like maybe 1 or 2 seconds, look away, but then look back and make sure you hold it for another 1 or 2 seconds. So it's like the look back. Why are you smiling?
Would not work because it's like you cannot do 3 seconds, so you do 2 times 2. So that's 4.
But it's also more, but it's also more like it's
either one works.
right.
I agree that either one works.
It's also more playful. It's like, oh, is she interested? Oh, she is interested.
And one thing is, I think women have this like, oh, maybe he's gonna think I'm like too, like too forward, or like, oh, he's gonna think this or that. It's like you don't care. Like the only thing that you care about is that he thinks you're interested in speaking to him. That doesn't mean you're interested in marrying the guy, right? Like, so that is sufficient. If he feels, like confident enough to approach, he's gonna approach.
Yeah.
I think like the bigger problem is like when the guy doesn't feel confident enough to approach.
Right.
Then you have to do this multiple times, maybe with a smile, etc.
Yeah.
To kind of just give enough, basically give him like tap on the back, like go.
Yeah.
You got this.
You got this, jockey.
You got this. It's yours.
Two other things I would say also works really well when it's like a more shy guy or he's just not getting the hint. Because studies have shown, I know this is crazy, but it takes about 29 signals, conscious or unconscious, for a woman to make before a guy comes over. Because he's also not sure, right? Or maybe we're not being clear.
I disagree with these studies, but
again, for you.
Yeah.
With that said, though, I would also say, so when you, for example, when you touch your neck as a woman or your hair, your neck hair, your lip, you're actually releasing pheromones. So it's a sign, subconsciously or consciously, we're releasing pheromones for attraction. So like play with your hair while you're like looking towards his direction. I think playing with the lip, like it's a little bit too much for me, but I guess it works. But like neck is also safe because to release pheromones. And then the last thing I would say is body language. Make sure that your body is like facing him, even if you're having a conversation this way.
As I'm listening to your suggestions, I'm like, well, that could be signaling to any man in the room, right? Like you're touching your hair, you're touching your.
No, but you're looking at his way or looking at him ideally.
But then you're basically just like going back to this like basic step one, like.
Yeah, but then if it's not working,
of course, we
escalate.
You're like, how obvious do you want me to be?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, bro,
like, I'm sending you a drink and looking at you.
Right. And last thing I would say about this for the women who feel like, oh, I don't want to come off like over sexualized or more like slutty, or like, oh, I don't want to be like, oh my God, like all over him. I think you could just go up to the guy and just be friendly, like something. Apparently, I didn't know. So I did this recently. Apparently, this was quote unquote hitting on a man. I was shocked.
Without the quotes.
Yeah, I was shocked. So he was drinking from a bottle of liquor, right? He was just drinking from it. I was like so aggressive. So I just looked at him like, you drink from the bottle, like smiling, right? And he was like, yeah, that was clearly hitting on me. So women, you really don't have to do anything.
And I agree.
Right. And I was like, that's hitting on a guy. So literally ask him any question with like a smile and
with a playful smile.
Yeah, playful smile, right? Don't be like aggressive with him, but that would be a perfect opening. So that works. Do less, women. You really don't have to do much. Okay, for a man to approach a woman, okay, how a woman would feel safe is don't come from behind her. Like, make sure she sees you coming, number one, right? Like, don't, if you want to demonstrate what not to do.
Like, don't stand behind her and like go into her personal space. Like, hey, like coming from here. That is not a good idea.
No,
it's not a good idea for anyone. Like anybody, like like a random person, like at a supermarket, like approaching you that way, you'll be like,
"What the hell?"
Yeah. Initial reaction is going to be negative.
Right. Make sure she sees you coming. And I would say it's worked for me when a guy, I see him like interacting, he's quite friendly with other people and he looks safe with other people, especially other women. It gives me more comfort when he eventually approaches me. So as a guy, you can build it up.
This basically means that men should make a move on other women first before they make a move on them.
No, meaning like when you're out with, say, girl space friends and he's friendly with girl space friends, you know?
But when he's out with his buddies.
That's the same. It's like you see him interacting. He seems friendly. He seems outgoing.
Okay, so it doesn't matter whether he's interacting with men or women.
Just
okay, fine.
People in general. It's like you get to see his demeanor, how he's acting with other people before he comes up to you. You know what I mean? Yeah, social cues. And then the other thing I also learned recently, women even if you have a ring that doesn't look like an engagement ring, apparently weighing on this finger makes a guy think that you're unavailable. So that's from personal experience. Just avoid the ring finger because guys can't tell an engagement ring from not, and that's all I gotta say.
Engagement rings come in so many shapes and
Fair,
forms. I
fair,
don't think it's
fair.
safe to assume that we can recognize which one is engagement versus non-engagement.
Fair. So ladies, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't wear on that finger. Anything else you want to add about? I think we covered a lot for getting attraction or
Like how guys should approach women.
Yeah.
I think, like the easiest thing to do is not to think of any pickup lines, but just
Agreed.
like come in with a smile and start a conversation about literally anything that's going on there
I agree.
in a normal way, like you would to a friend or, like, well, more playfully than that.
Right,
but
right, right.
That is more than sufficient.
I agree. Women don't like pickup lines. You don't need a pickup line. Okay.
Questionable statement, but like, yeah, I think they're like, like the whole pickup artist community and whatever, like these guys literally made it a business into like starting conversations, getting women interested, etc. But like that is, at least in my view, like very inauthentic, rehearsed, and it doesn't come off as natural. And then you have to have a script in your mind, etc. So it's not going to be like a natural interaction. It's helpful for some people if they feel like really like afraid of making a move, but yeah, it's just like, and if you get rejected, it's totally fine. Like not every person is for you.
Fair. That's good. Good point. Okay, next topic is dating profiles. Give us cues of what makes a woman look like she's a good time versus a hubby, wife material. And I'll give examples of what makes a man look more hubby material versus a good time. You want to start?
Okay, tough one.
Is it? Okay.
Well, okay, this is going to be super subjective, right? But like,
it's our opinion.
At least from my perspective and from several of my guy friends who are, like also like who have used dating apps before, it's like if you see two sexualized photos.
Define sexualized. Let's be specific.
Okay. Bikini photos.
Okay.
Is like,
so skin.
Yeah, because like that is call me conservative, but like to me that should be like, of course you're going to go on a beach in a bikini, but like you don't have to advertise that to the world. So those I think are, like not going to put a guy necessarily in this is like marriage material woman.
As someone who used to have bikini pictures on my dating profile, who was not ready to be someone's wife and was just having fun, I 100% second that. Go.
Okay, great. And then like again, this is like personal subjective. I think like if like too hardcore makeup or like women pouting in their photos or in videos, yes,
like the duck fit.
That's like it's a little bit disappointing. Doesn't mean it's not attractive per se, but like in a more sexual way rather than in a like, oh, I would really like to get to know this person type of way.
Agreed.
So these things are like, and to me it's similar to like what you would put on Instagram, etc. Like, you do not want to overly sexualize yourself because like that is going to, it may get you like likes and followers and whatever. But then the other side of that is, like if you want to interact with a man who wants to keep his private life private, that's going to be, like a friction point for sure.
I agree. The other thing I would add,
one more thing, again, super personal, but like when I see like, okay, a lot of women have dogs, puppies, whatever, who they love. But like when you put on a photo where you're like kissing your dog on the mouth, or your like dog is licking your face or like your mouth, like to me that's like, oh, terrible. Okay. Terrible. Bacteria. Like,
okay, so cleanliness.
Yeah.
SOS bacteria.
So but these are all super subjective, and I think that like, what we all should think about is like, who are we filtering out when we put our own photos out?
Good point. I like that. That's a good point. One thing I would add for the women, you could be dressed so like in a classy manner and, you know, not too much makeup and all whatever. But if you look like you're making love to the camera, that's also over sexualizing yourself. So let me be clear. If it looks like an intro to a porno, that should not be on a dating profile.
You mean no videos of like licking a lollipop?
Yeah, like, or just like eye fucking the camera. Yeah, that's probably not like giving off. It's not giving wifey material.
Yeah. And then you see like what you're looking for, long-term relationship,
right.
Long-term only serious, you're
right.
looking for my lifetime partner. Like,
yeah. Ladies, we're not trying to like make fun of you. We're genuinely trying to do this because sometimes people think like over sexualizing is the only way to get a guy's attention, but you're actually hurting yourself and you're filtering out
it's literally not like yeah.
So we're trying to make a joke out of it. We're not trying to make fun of it. Listen, I've done all this shit too before. I just want to prevent well, we'll see. I'll come next. I just don't want people to keep making the same mistakes that won't get them where they want to be. That's all. Okay, let's talk about the boys. So
let's talk about men because like boys, I don't know which apps you're using.
Oh, right. Okay, sorry. Yeah, let's be politically correct. We're talking about grown-ass men. So similar to you, red flags are shirtless photos. I just don't need it.
Like curled bicep,
like shirtless, like gym selfie, or even like you're on a beach shirtless. I just don't need to see that. It's different if it's like a pack of men and like you're on an adventure or something, and that's different. But like if it's just you in a solo pic, it's kind of too much. It's giving too much skin. Secondly, when there's just so many photos of you and your boys in Montauk, it's like, I get it. You like to be in the scene. I don't probably want a husband who just always wants to party and be in the scene. Nothing wrong with going to Montauk, but like if all your photos are like you and your boys in that like crow's net, whatever those places are nowadays, like I just be like, okay, I graduated from that. I don't want to date a guy.
I think like this is one where men will make inadvertent mistakes, like not because they wanted to, but because like, just to give context, like men don't go out thinking like, oh, we need to do like a group photo, we need to do a selfie, we need to do blah, 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 right? Like, so
some do though.
Some do, but like I would assume most don't. And like I'm just talking about like my friend group. Like most men don't go out like taking photos all the time.
True.
And then like I mean, I've been in this problem. I know my other friends have. Like you're supposed to upload 6, and you're like 6. Like
I don't even have 3.
I have 3 presentable ones. How am I going to dig out 3 more? And then you end up like going through your photo like list, and you're like, God, wow. Like a lot of photos of, you know, like the sky or, you know, like something else. But so it's unless you've been to events where you have professional photos, they're presentable, but then you like, you know, then it's a different story. But I think this is probably the reason why men put up, you know, like photos from like, from going out, because like when else are you taking the photos?
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a really good point. The green flags, more hubby material. When guys are doing activities, like when they're like
reading a book on their
or like hiking or skiing or, you know, things that he likes to do. Could be reading a book too. That's a little bit weird.
Taking a horse.
Yeah. But not
I think a bear.
But not pose, like in action photos, like someone else took it, you know? Yeah. Taking a bear would be great. I would love that. Things with family, I think those are nice. I think sometimes guys overdo like stealing a kid in the photo. I think a lot of guys have that now because they feel like it works with the ladies. Try not to overdo that, like having kids in your photo.
I have this thing about like not putting other people's photos and faces in my photos, because like first, like, you know, like it's kind of like a breach of privacy, right? Like like why would you want, you know, like the other person to be in? But like I don't think those props are necessary.
Right. So I'm laughing because you're gonna kill me, but you're actually in one of my profile pictures. Shit. I'll take it down. It's a really fan favorite.
blur my face
Oh,
out.
okay. Yeah, you and Russell are in it,
Okay.
but it's more because it's like it's a full body of me, so people know that like I'm like my physical stature without being over sexualized. But I will take it off.
Okay. You
I
just
said no.
you can just delete the face, and then it's like a
That's so
faceless body.
weird.
Why? That's normal.
It's so weird. It's also for me, the reason why I do it is because I want men to know, like straight from the bat, I have guy friends. And if this is going to be an issue, don't date me. Like I'm very clear about that, you know? So I always want to make sure like I have pictures with my girlfriends, I have pictures with my guy friends.
Mhm.
So it's not like, who are these people? It's like you've known them since you saw me on the app. So it is what it is. But I will take it down for you.
By the way, this like one more point on like
What?
on the profiles. Like
Okay.
some women put also like group photos across the board,
Oh,
and you
then
don't
yeah,
and
you
you
don't
don't know
know
who, and then like you have to solve the puzzle, like
who.
overlap, like Venn diagram of like
Who is it?
who is the one person who's on all the photos, and it's like this is not supposed to
It's
be like
the hard, yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's not
Forensics.
maybe she's doing an IQ test, but not the right forum.
No. One thing I would say, what I like on the apps is when guys have like a kind, genuine smile. Like you're truly happy and smile with your eyes. For me, that's more wholesome.
Like this.
Don't ever do that. Don't
No,
ever.
it's going on my profile
Yeah.
photo, yeah.
But just like not like those like posy and whatever, just like genuinely smiling. I think that's a natural good photo. Okay, I think we did a great job covering that. Let's talk about, okay, when it comes to texting, building interest,
Sorry, I'm just
what's so funny?
I may not be the best person
Wait, why?
for
Are you
this stuff.
bad at this?
I think I've received like a lot of constructive feedback
No, wait,
and,
what is this?
and not too much complimentary feedback
Wait,
on my
what do you
texting.
get?
I get sometimes like so cold over
Okay,
text.
interesting.
Yeah,
Okay. I feel
I'm
like
just
you,
being efficient.
okay, interesting. Okay, well, I don't know how you text your girl. Okay, maybe like when you're dating or seeing your girl, she would want more warmth. Okay, but okay, let's see. So let's talk about like the good amount of date texting that doesn't show desperation, but also shows interest. And let's talk about like playing games, like waiting to text back. What are your thoughts? Like, what's a turn off with girls or a turn on when it comes to texting?
I mean, to me, the biggest turn off is like when somebody is flaky, and
Mm.
that just like pushes me back, and I'm like, not really interested in
Yeah.
like pursuing this. Um, but just people being like genuine and open is like
Mhm.
the easiest thing to do. So like, like no like overthinking like, oh, who should text first, who should do this,
Yeah.
like just like send text if you think about it. If you don't think about it and you don't send a text, then like that's a signal as well. So
Exactly.
it's just like you take it as it is.
Yep.
It's very simple.
Yeah, I would say for the women and for all the ones that either like are my friends or have worked with me, I'm very blunt. I'm like always warning people, don't come to me if you want to just bitch and moan, like come to me if you want solutions. I'm definitely more like a guy friend than a girlfriend, if that makes sense. But here's my thing. If a guy is interested in you, he will seek you out. He will text you. He will make plans with you.
He will find
He
you
will
wherever
find you. You might have to get a restraining order,
I'm putting on commando gear.
Yeah, you might have to hide.
He will find you.
So if you don't hear from this guy for like days, unless it's like, I don't know, there's like a specific reason why he's been gone, ladies, he's just not that into you. And that's okay. Like we talked about it. Like you're hopefully gonna get, if you want to get married or you want just one partner, it's just all it takes is one. So all the other ones are not supposed to work out. So it's just more about filtering out and not get so stuck on the ones that aren't working, or like trying to make it work. I think girls
Caveat.
what?
Okay, different cultures are very different in terms of, like what is a normal response time. Just to give you an example.
True, because I did date a
Sure.
guy. Okay, go first and then.
Latin American response time when a woman sends you a text is
Immediate.
immediately.
Or you're dying.
If you did not respond for like an hour or two, it's a question mark. 3 to 4 hours, maybe call the police in the hospital.
Wow.
No, I'm joking, I'm exaggerating, obviously, but like, yeah, so like there is a difference in terms of like what is the expected response time. And obviously also there's like a difference if people are like working in very different industries, right?
True.
Like if you work in finance and somebody texts you, like during morning hours, you're unlikely to answer immediately.
Yeah.
You're probably going to answer like in a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And that is more than normal because you're not going to like use your personal phone
No.
and text all the time if you're like on a trading floor.
Yeah.
But if you work in some other industry when you're like, like where you have access to your phone all the time, like sure, you can text at any point. So there are, like
Yeah.
differences, but I think like if somebody doesn't respond to you for like a day or two, that's
what I mean.
that's
Days.
more than a clear signal, like.
Yeah.
And if the next text doesn't start with, "Hey, I'm
So
sorry,
sorry.
yeah,
Yeah.
for not responding sooner," then you kind of like, yeah.
You know what's up. And that also goes for men
I think
too.
it's like it goes both directions.
Both ways. Okay, so I'm with you on this. Don't play games like wait to text back. It's so silly. Like I always say to women,
If you're a grown up,
if you're a
kid, like do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it now.
Get the most of it, enjoy it.
Because the thing is, so I'm sure I will speak for myself. When you play games, you attract people who want to play the same game. So when I was not like emotionally ready for something real, I like loved the chase. So I would track men where I had to play this like cat and mouse game through text. But like now that I'm ready for something real, when someone's inconsistent, I'm immediately turned off, just like you. And I have no desire to go hunt you down and be like, oh my God, like you need to pick, there's no pick me around it, right? So men and women, it's like if you choose to play games, you will attract that kind of partner or person, and you will lose out on the good eggs because any self-respecting man or woman will not be entertaining. They don't have time to entertain those games.
It's not just time, it's like mental energy
but
like needed for that. Like I think, look, because I've played those games when I was younger, but
Right.
I'm talking about like high school, university, right? And
Okay.
like that's when you learn how to start.
Right.
So I think most people don't want to be played. Some people do, but like most people don't.
Yeah.
So it's not the best way to be seductive and playful. The better way to be seductive and playful is using your mind and your words and like communicating. Like you can do hot cold without making it, like a bad game.
Agreed. I always say for men and women, don't play hard to get. You should be hard to get. Meaning you're not glued to your phone because you actually have things going on in your life, right? Like you're not like always readily available. You're not like he wants to plan a last minute date. You're actually available because you have nothing else going on. I think you should be hard to get because your life already is so full and someone's lucky to be able to co-create a life with you and have like space in your life with you.
So I'll just like slight caveat on that. Like I think it's spontaneity is okay, right? Like if you're actually available, be open and say like, I'm actually available.
Okay, fair.
Totally fine, right? Like, so if somebody invites you like last minute, like 8 p.m. for 9 p.m. and you are actually available, there's nothing wrong with that.
But not all the time.
Yeah, but like if the person only calls you 1 hour ahead, then you should think about like, well, where are you in the priority list? You're probably not high.
100%. Okay. I agree with you. I feel like I love spontaneity. I'm with you on that, but it's like you have to earn spontaneity. Like I think when you're courting a woman, you can't just like constantly spontaneity with her because it's like you don't feel safe.
Like 1:30 a.m. Like, hey, do you want to meet now?
You up? You up, boo? Yeah, none of that. We too old for this. Okay. Love that. Anything else about texting?
No, I think it's just like being and one thing that I've learned the hard way is whenever there is anything that can be conflicting or whatever, just go from text to a call.
Yeah, or voice note.
Yeah, voice notes, are a good alternative as well if you have a good voice.
So not you.
Yeah, so that's why I don't use it. So
I was just thinking about it. It's like, imagine, you know how people like filter their, like girls filter their photos? How funny it would be if you could like filter your voice. I'm sure you can like change your voice to like a completely different accent and
make it
tone.
non-raspy, like
Right. Super high pitched. You know, how funny would that be?
like helium voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think like if anything, you see that something is like not like good communication, it's much better off like on a call or a video call or voice note, whatever it is, than over text. Because text can be read in angry tone or in like friendly tone.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. 100% agree with you. This is a good one. Having the exclusive talk. So in your opinion, if a woman wants to know where she stands with somebody, with a guy, how should she have the exclusive talk? And then I'll share what would be helpful, what would be helpful the way a guy should do it to a woman. Okay.
Okay, so first of all, I think every woman kind of knows how to do this. And I
don't think we do. That's why I want you to share.
From my perspective, what I've seen whenever I talk to my friends who are women, like when we would talk about this topic, if they were unsure about a guy and they asked me like my opinion, it would always be such a simple answer, which is like, why don't you just ask him? And
what would she ask? What's the question?
And like whenever we got to like the practical of how, I think the bigger problem was like, what if he says no? And I think like there is this like subliminal or explicit fear in women that like, well, if I make that conversation and he says no, then I'm kind of ruining it. And like what happens? And it's like, well, you're not ruining it. You're ruining something that doesn't exist. You're only ruining the idea in your head. And like maybe that idea is not real. So you're better off knowing earlier than basically, like finding out like 2 months later, like, oh my God, we're not exclusive. Well, like, we went to this trip together and blah, blah.
Met your whole family.
Yeah.
Jesus, some of you guys go way too far.
Fed your dog.
Yeah, like did your taxes, like we're still not exclusive, like
your tax accountant.
Do you know what I mean? Some of you guys take it way too far, but
I think it's very simple. Like if a woman feels like she wants to have that conversation and the guy did not bring it up, you can just start with like, hey, I want to talk to you about something, that's important to me.
Your taxes.
And it's not your taxes. Your tax returns are gone. Okay. So basically, is just say like, hey, I want to talk about something that's important to me.
Yeah.
I really like you. I would prefer not to share it with anyone. Like,
that's cute. I like that. I prefer not to share. Oh my God. If I was a guy and I heard that, oh, okay, go on.
And then sweet. Like, like you ask the guy point blank explicitly. Like, no, like, well, like you can ask him, what do you think? And if he doesn't say point blank, like explicitly, like yes or no, then ask him, okay, I understand your answer, whatever it was. Throw it away. Does that mean you want to be exclusive or not?
Yeah. Okay. To just be crystal clear.
It's two questions, I want to share you, what do you think? And then the next question is, does that mean you want to be exclusive or not? Simple as that. Not like, it's not, you don't have to be aggressive about it. You can just say it in a normal tone.
You don't have to be Latina about it.
What do you want?
Tell me now.
Tell me
what are we?
So basically, and that gives you the response whether you like it or not. If the response on a yes or no question, do you want to be exclusive or not, is like, like going everywhere, that means it's a no. It doesn't mean it's no forever. It means like that at that moment, that guy is not ready to be exclusive.
Right.
But at least like where you stand. I think like this is a great point that I got like from like negotiations training I did, like several years ago. You don't go into negotiations seeking to get what you want out of it. You go into negotiations to find out where you and the other side can overlap and find, like common ground. So it's a discovery process. It's not like a persuasion process.
I'm 100% with you.
So basically that's that.
I agree. I would say, I would say for the women who maybe even wanted to soften it a bit, what I've used and worked.
Why would you want to soften it? Like how is this not soft?
Just another idea is more of asking like how are we feeling about each other, and do we want to continue just getting to know each other?
Okay, let me play another devil's
Okay, let's go.
advocate, but just a guy who doesn't want to commit.
Okay, go.
Like, how do we feel about each other? Yeah, great.
Do we want to continue just seeing each other?
I mean, yeah, continue to see you. Yes, sure.
Just seeing each
What do you
other
mean?
exclusively.
Wow.
Okay, but I'm just saying, it's like sometimes like you don't have to push it until you push
but
it.
that's the whole point, right? Like, so like you're just starting from a more vague angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you have to, and I think again, it goes back to the point of like, is the woman going to have the courage to ask that final question, like exclusive, yes or no? Because it has to be that in the end.
Yeah.
That question has to happen if it's not the answer on the first question.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
however vague or non-vague you want to make the first question, the second question has to be yes or no.
Yeah, I get it.
If you want to get the information out.
I agree. Okay, I agree. On the man side, having the exclusive talk, what I highly encourage men not to do is not be clear. So there are times when a guy would say, "Hey, you've been seeing a guy for what's a certain time," and he goes, "Hey, I'm off the apps." So to an American woman, I'm thinking, okay, so you're off new flow, or you paused your app, right? Like you're off the new flow, but I have no.
Sorry, I'm just thinking like, like more warm and aggressive, or let's say dramatic cultures would be, you've been on apps.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly, right?
Outrage.
Yeah. So if someone says like I'm off the apps or I pause my apps or whatever, right? To a woman, like that's very blunt. It's like, okay, cool. So you've paused like meeting people digitally, but I have no idea. Are you still meeting people in the wild? Like I have no clue, right?
Out there in the open.
Yeah.
In the wild.
In the wild, like free range chicken, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like I think it's really important to a guy to say, like, hey, I would like for us, like same thing. It's like I would like for us to be exclusive, or like, how do you feel about we were only seeing each other? I think Nicole, or you can even ask, like, are you seeing other people? Do you want to see other people? I think that's also a good way to like ease into it, but don't be like, I'm off the apps or I pause. Like, what does that mean?
I disagree with this. What is this? Like,
okay, what do you mean?
Want to see other people? Like, if you want, like, again, if as a guy you want to be exclusive with a woman, just tell her directly. Like, there is no. Like,
I know, but everyone's comfort level's different.
Soften the blow. Like, you're probably not telling her something she's gonna be shocked by. Right. And second, if she's shocked, then like obviously it's like a data point for you.
Disconnect, yeah.
Yeah, but like it's just so simple. Like
But you have to keep in mind you're very
say it, and then like you let the other side tell you what they want.
But that's because you're very assertive and clear. Not every guy. So for example, like other culture, like British people, right? They're not as direct. That's why they go the less aggressive. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, how do we solve for that?
When you say aggressive, I mean assertive.
Exactly. Same thing. I think it's the same. Yeah. So just be more clear when you want the exclusive talk. Okay. Last question. Well, it's kind of two in one, but last two questions. First is, what questions should people ask each other to vet and understand if there's a true fit, like when you're dating? So what are some things that women should ask men to see if like it truly is a partner fit? And then I'll share what men should ask women.
I think there is a universal answer first,
Okay.
which I use by myself as well. And again, it's like if you're thinking about like a long-term person, right? So you imagine that person after you met them, after you spent some time with them, you like them, you're kind of like, in your mind thinking like, well,
could we?
Yeah, could we, should we, etc. And then you imagine that person, and then you take away their social status, take away their financial status, take away their looks, and then think about like, do you like what's left from that person? do you actually like their personality, or do you like all of these other things around them?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And like that's why we take away the looks and the financial and the social status, because like these are all the things that make somebody more attractive, more powerful, more, like more desired in societal views. But like in your own view, like would you actually in the dark without touching that person, like want to have a long conversation?
Yeah.
And if that's like yes, then like you go on to perceive other things. I don't think there are really like single questions that you can ask, like, oh, A, B, and C, and then you're gonna figure it out. I think it's like a series of things.
Yeah, but
that
there
you
are
should ask. Yeah.
questions. There's only questions you can ask. Yeah.
But I think, like you do need to ask questions whether you align on the lifestyle that you want.
Yeah.
Like maybe the person wants to live an extravagant lifestyle and you want a quiet lifestyle, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's a clash.
Yeah.
And like then you have to think about like whether, like location where you want to live, like do you want to raise a family? Like all of these things are like, oh, that's too forward to talk about. Like, no, it's actually important to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because like then you can ask the question, why do you want or not want that?
Right. And also it's like asking a lot of these questions. Like, for example, one of the questions I always suggest people to ask, man or woman, is what does your ideal relationship, your dream relationship look like? Like, what does it look like? How does it feel?
Such an interview question.
Yeah, because I am interviewing. You know what I mean? It is the most important decision of our lives, who we choose to make a partner, right? Our partner. But I would say you can ask any question in a playful tone and it won't come off as serious. Like I've definitely asked.
So okay, ask that question in a playful tone. That's not serious.
What does your ideal partner look like? What does your dream relationship look like? I do this all the time. Come on, like, yeah. It's like, yeah, I just feel like, yeah, I'm definitely the queen of asking all the questions that like all like people always tell you, don't ask these questions in the first 3 days. I go straight into it in the first date.
No, I think that's healthy. It's like because you can filter out fast.
Exactly. And I don't want to waste time, honestly, because your person's out there. Okay. And then I would say 2 things I would also ask just to see like a person's what they value. I think it's more values. First is, what do you respect in a woman, or what do you respect in a man? It'll tell you a lot what they value when you talk about respect. And then another one is what's your fighting style? Like, what's your conflict resolution style?
I have a good one.
Go ahead.
To ask a woman, how dramatic are you, 1 to 10?
Yeah. That's a good one. No, you have to assume they're always going to lower end it.
No, some would say 12 all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe that's still the lower end of what reality is.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe,
Maybe that is the low ball number.
Right? So the last question is similar. So when you want to explore true fit, what are some dates or things to do together to decide whether or not just asking questions? Like, are there any activities or things that you think people should do on dates to get to know if they're truly a fit?
I mean, if you're actually dating someone properly, like you're gonna want to be with them in as many social situations, in as many like different things, and take them to the things that you like doing.
Yeah, agree.
And if they find that boring or odd or annoying or like repelling in any way, shape, or form, you just have an information like, okay, these are things you're not going to be able to do together.
Yeah.
Right? Which is totally okay. Like some things like you don't want to do
with
together.
Friends. Yeah. So I have personal experience about this, so I highly recommend this. If you want to know how someone resolves conflict or gets through things in life, and it's like early stages, I want you to play Escape the Room with them. Escape the Room is literally exercise I've done where I literally was like, I cannot date this man. And it, like, for example, I was not obviously, I'm very competitive.
Poor logic, or like...
It was literally like the whole point of the game is called Escape the Room, which is escape within an hour.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Right. So I've never been in a scenario where I'm playing with someone where He literally wanted to reread everything and make sure we like looked at all the angles and stuff, even if the timer was going off and it was like, he wasn't trying to escape the room. He was trying to like understand the prompt. And I was like, this will never, ever work. So if you want to know how someone resolve conflict, also when you communicate with each other, like, can you solve problems together? And then you'll really quickly know what they prioritize when you play the game, escape the room.
Alternative to that is like you find a wildfire and then you helicopter yourself into it, and then you see how the person reacts.
That's true.
But yeah, that would be like putting somebody under pressure on purpose to see like
how they react.
You can always also use, like your friendly friends and tell them, I want you to put this person under pressure. And then ask and see.
Yeah, I would say I definitely more throw them into the fire sooner than later when it comes to friends that are trusted friends, because we all had like rose-colored glasses when we were dating someone. I'm like, I'd rather you meet the close friends sooner than later, and I get like the true intel. Then it's like I'm so already emotionally invested, and it's like, well, it's got to work out now.
The problem is if you have like very, very judgmental friends, which you don't. Like, but
debatable.
but if you do,
but no, I think that
you're gonna get somebody else's view that's gonna potentially bias yours.
Yeah.
But like, I think that's a good exercise just to vet out when you feel like something may be off.
Correct.
And just,
correct.
Clear that out.
Second, yeah. That's it. I hope this was helpful. Petar, is there anything else that we did not talk about that you want to leave the audience with?
I think there are like so many things here. Like I love those, like those funny video clips that come up like on your YouTube or the social media feed where it's like, like what a woman says and then the translator for the guy.
Oh yeah.
I think the more men and women discuss about this openly.
Yep.
First of all, it's funny.
It's so funny.
It's funny, like how we interpret it. Like, oh, would you like a coffee? Or like, oh, do you want to play some music? It's like, play some music. Let's get coffee.
Yeah.
Right. So these things like you'll learn over time, but it only happens after you have like some conversations or like you can like pay attention to it.
Yeah.
So I just like, I've learned a lot over time, but I think like everybody should do these exercises
100%.
with their friends, like on the other side.
100%. So we'll see you June 7th. We're going to go way deeper and have more fun, but this is just going to be a taste of what it's going to be like. So thank you, Petar.